stars are circling, they know what's coming. My body's turning cold from the inside out. Taking you take a little more. Now my own heart doesn't feel anymore. Searching, I'm searching, I long for something to cure my weather.
And we are back, guys. I apologize for the stream earlier. My sister had come downstairs, and I didn't want to have to stop speaking instantly, I guess. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to smack all this down and get as much as I can done for you guys. And yeah, let's get to it. I highlighted where we were at, so woohoo! Let me place this on my TV so I know. I can't have the sound on it. Oh, sure, TV, sure. Throw yourself right off YouTube. Alright, so here we go. Let's get back into it. By the way, I found out we actually ended off at page 5. So I read more than 3 pages. Alright. I'll tell you later, said Slender. After meeting everyone, I felt calm and relaxed. Lulu looked at my age. She had long black hair but no eyes in her sockets. Lulu had a long blue dress. It was beautiful. She must have been like Ben. Slender was really tall. He wore a black suit that fit his whole body. He had many tentacle-like things attached to his body. Slender was holding Lazari's hand. Lazari looked human like me. She wore a black and purple dress, and it looked a bit short in her. I didn't notice anything wrong with her. Maybe it's personal about what happened to her. Jack had a black hoodie with a blue mask with tar like liquid dripping from his sockets of his mask. I like the look of his mask. It reminds me of my drawings of a lost mask. Jack did take off his mask, and he was as well missing his eyes from his socket. Jeff looked almost human, more pale than human. Jeff had a white hoodie, red stains on it. I'm not going to ask what the red stains are. So Ben, you called us here and said it involves the enemy, said Slender. Ben looked at me. Scarlet, you can show them, Ben said. I looked at Ben and nodded. I turned around and took off my hat, revealing the cloth wrapped around my head. Then I took my shirt off, relieving the wrapped cloth from my shoulders to my waist. Ben said someone named Drake did this to me, said Scarlet. Everybody stood in shock of what happened to my body, except for Lazari. Slender took Lazari to another room to talk to her. Put my shirt back on, along with my hat. Hey Jeff, was somebody carrying a clock with you guys when you came? Said Ben. Yeah, he's new. We have a lot of new people since they took you, Jeff said. Is Lazari okay? Sorry, said Scarlet. Lulu walks over to Scarlet. Yes, Lazari is fine. She has this thing when it comes towards the room where Slender and Laurie... Oh, sorry, I skipped on. Yes, Lazari is fine. She has this thing when it comes to blood, said Lulu. I'll check on her to see if she's okay, said Ben. Ben starts to walk towards the room where Slender and Lazari is, but stopped after Scarlet grabs his hand. Be safe, okay? Said Scarlet. Ben looks at Scarlet and smiles at her. Scarlet let go of Ben's hand and he continues walking towards the room. Hey, Scarlet, do you like Ben or something? Said Lulu. I guess you could say that. He's been living with me since last year, when I saved him, said Scarlet. Lulu was confused at first. I met Ben when I was hiking in the woods by the lake. He wasn't... How did you... said Scarlet. I can read minds, silly. How do you think I know you like me? I go silent and look at Lulu with bright red tomato cheeks. Well then, said Scarlet, I'm going out for a walk. I can't skip a hike on the first day of summer. I get myself ready for an adventure and pack myself up some supply. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where do you think you're going? You just got attacked by a monster and you want to go hiking? Jack said out loudly. I stood there with a straight face. Yes, said Scarlet. It doesn't feel right ignoring the woods because I was in danger. And please don't follow me. Scarlet walks out the door of the treehouse and climbs down the ladder. Ben stands there like nothing even happened. Should we follow her anyways? Said Lulu. No, it's fine. I don't sense any danger nearby, said Ben. Ben whispers something to himself. Be safe, Scarlet. Scarlet was already at the river where she had met Ben. I love being in the wilderness, feeling safe everywhere, knowing he will save me. I went down a different path than normal. A new one was somewhat hidden. I can't see where she is anymore. It's blurry, said Ben. Everyone in the treehouse started to worry where Scarlet is. All right, everyone. We'll have to look for Scarlet. There's only one person that can blur my vision. We all know who that is. Let's go, Ben said in a worried and strict voice. Meantime, Scarlet continues her travels in the woods and noticed that the surroundings were off. The leaves were black instead of green. The plants were dead. Came across an empty circle-like area with a man. I couldn't see him clearly. My head started to throb. I fell to the ground, landing on my knees. I opened my eyes moments later. He was standing right in front of me. He held his hand out to help me up. My vision was no longer blurry and my head wasn't throbbing anymore. I know who you are, said the man. The man had a tan-colored skin with bright white eyes. His clothes looked old and destroyed. He gave me a tight hug and that harmed the pain of my wound. A tear goes down my cheek and he instantly lets go. I'm so sorry. I'm so happy to see you, said the man. Who are you? Said Scarlet in a shocked voice. My name is Herobrine. Scarlet, I'm your brother, said Herobrine. I stood there in shock, crying in happiness, knowing I have a brother, a family member that's still alive. I grabbed him and hugged him close. I never thought I could see you again, said Herobrine, in tears as well. Scarlet. Ben and everyone found Scarlet, but did not interfere. Scarlet, be careful of him, said Ben. Scarlet stops hugging Herobrine and looks at Ben. Ben, he's my brother, Scarlet says in tears of happiness. Ben froze. Wait a minute, how is he your brother? I mean, you never said anything about a brother, said Ben. Ben, I never met any of my family, and remember I told you I had a different blood type, so it made it impossible to find anyone? I couldn't even find my family because of this. This is amazing, said Scarlet. Scarlet, are you friends with him? Said Herobrine. I nodded to him. Ben kept me safe since I saved his life, Scarlet said. Herobrine looked at Ben and then smiled. Thank you so much for keeping my sister safe, said Herobrine, as he runs to Ben, giving him a hug. Scarlet, he's working with the enemy, Ben said. Scarlet looked at Ben shocked, but seemed to not care. I don't care if he sides with the enemy. I mean, he's just hugging you for keeping me safe. I don't think he cares, Scarlet said. I look at Ben with a nasty look, but then look down with a pouty look. I know I'm on the enemy side, but I would do anything to be with my sister again. Just name it and I'll do it, said Herobrine. Scarlet looked at Ben and smiled, writing the words please with her lips. Alright, you can live with us, said Ben. Herobrine starts to have tears of joy, and so does Scarlet. We all started to walk back to the treehouse. Jeff and Lulu didn't look like they trusted Herobrine. Ben looked like he's trusting Herobrine for me. I guess Ben can hear what I'm thinking. Ben looks at me and nods. Herobrine looks at both of us with a confused face. We'll tell you when we get home. We'll tell you when we get home, said Scarlet. Herobrine holds my hand and smiles. Now that we're connected again, the family can get back together, said Herobrine. Scarlet and Bren look at Herobrine with a shocked look on their face. Wait, her parents are alive? Said Ben. Herobrine nods at Ben. Ben and Scarlet look at each other and smile with happiness. The only bad news is they're also with the enemy, said Herobrine. Scarlet looks at the ground and sad. I'll try to convince them to come see you, Scarlet. Before I do that, you need to know the truth, said Herobrine. And that was the end of chapter 1. And we are just going to continue on words to chapter 2. And I have to say, in this chapter, some crazy stuff happens, okay? Alright, let's continue. It was a month after my brother, Herobrine, started living with us. Ben had been more attached to me ever since he started living with us. We had to build another room for him as well. His room was next to Ben's room. Scarlet, Trevor, and I are coming over to make sure you're okay. It's been a month since the incident and we want to see how your wound is doing, said Mavis, over the phone with Scarlet. Girl, I'm fine, but I do want you to come over to meet someone, said Scarlet. Ooh, who is this person we're going to be meeting? Remember when I told you I had no family because my blood was unknown? Yeah, I met my brother. Mavis went silent over the phone. We're coming over right away, screamed Mavis and Trevor over the phone. Mavis hangs up. Ben, you might want to hide, said Scarlet. But I'm in the shower. Our magical plumbing is working for once, said Ben. Well, don't scream like a girl when Mavis and Trevor come. They are running here to meet my brother, said Scarlet. Herobrine looks at her and listens to the name she says. Who is coming again? Herobrine said. Scarlet looks at Herobrine. Trevor and Mavis, they're my best friends, said Scarlet. Herobrine looks down and places his hands on the safe. Scarlet, Herobrine says in a quiet voice. What's up, Brian? Scarlet says, I had a son named Trevor. He was born a few months after you. I haven't seen him since he was just a baby, said Herobrine. Scarlet gets up from her bed and hugs Herobrine. Herobrine's name used to be Brian. Over the past month, he has been telling me what happened to him the past 16 years. He had told me he died a few days after I was born. He said our parents killed him, but Brian didn't think it was a good time to tell me why. They abandoned me to see if I would have a better life living as a human instead of monsters. I told Brian what happened to me before summer started. Herobrine was at the camp waiting for his team to come back from hunting food. There were a few tents, enough to fit 7 to 8 people. Herobrine was creating a steak out of a stick with a knife he snatched off a body. Branches started to snap along the sounds of leaves being crushed. Rake, I know that's you, bro. What did you find? Said Herobrine. Rake comes out of the woods into the campsite with blood on his claws and some organs in a bag he was carrying. I found a nice and delicious body filled with organs, said Rake. Rake had brought the bag of organs next to Herobrine. Herobrine had smelled the air and scent of someone fled upon Rake. Rake, who else did you attack? Said Herobrine. I beg your pardon, said Rake. Rake had given Herobrine an unpleasant look on his face. Rake, I can smell more than one type of blood on you. Who else did you attack? Said Herobrine. Rake sat there in silence for a moment. It was a girl. She saw me kill someone. I couldn't let her get away, said Rake. Herobrine stops and looks directly at Rake. If you couldn't let her get away, where are her organs? Said Herobrine. Rake became frustrated after that. I couldn't kill her. She what, Rake? Spill it. She seemed connected to you. Herobrine froze and looked at Rake. What do you mean she seemed connected to me? Said Herobrine. She looked like you, but human eyes and female figure. Rake shouted. There was a silence for a few minutes. It seemed like hours. She's still alive? Herobrine had whispered to himself. Do you really think that Trevor you know could be my son? Said Herobrine. I'm positive. You both have the same features. I wouldn't be surprised if you were, Scarlet said. A knock at the treehouse door was almost silent. Scarlet, we're here, said Mavis. Coming. Scarlet rushed to the door and opened it. There stood Trevor and Mavis holding a picnic basket with some soda bottles. Where is he? I can't wait to meet your brother, said Trevor. I look at Trevor and hold his hand. Hold on, fixing something real quick. He's something more than you to me, Trevor, said Scarlet. I walked Mavis and Trevor to the living room where Herobrine was. Trevor still didn't understand what I meant. Mavis, Trevor, this is my brother Herobrine, said Scarlet. Herobrine, this is Trevor. Scarlet was interrupted by Trevor and Herobrine staring at each other. Mavis was also looking at Herobrine, but she seemed to be looking at his eyes. Mavis looked both at Trevor and Herobrine. Trevor, I think he's your... Mavis paused. Trevor ran up to Herobrine and gave him a long hug. Where the hell have you been all these years? Trevor said, as tears ran down his cheeks and Herobrine's worn-down shirt. Scarlet, the water stopped again, Ben screamed from the bathroom. My eyes closed with an embarrassment, forgetting about Ben being in the shower. Ben, you're going to have to get dressed and introduce yourself, Scarlet said. What do you mean, Ben stopped mid-sentence, looking through Scarlet's eyes, seeing Mavis and Trevor in the living room. Mavis and Trevor are here, aren't they? Ben sighed. Yep, said Scarlet. Ben slowly walks out of the bathroom dressed, covering his face with embarrassing red cheeks. Mavis, Trevor, that's the man I've been taking care of before me and Herobrine reunited. He's somewhat like Herobrine, but don't freak out because of what he looks like, said Scarlet. Trevor stopped hugging Herobrine and looked at Ben. Ben had moved his arm away from his face, revealing the fact that he has nothing shown in his eye sockets. Mavis and Trevor stare at Ben. That is awesome, Trevor shouted. Ben looked at Trevor. First, Scarlet meets her brother, who turns out to be my long-lost father, and now I meet someone who is literally missing their eyeballs, Trevor said in excitement. Trevor gives Ben a fist bump. When did he start living with you? Mavis asked. I looked at Mavis and smiled. I had slightly rescued him from drowning, Scarlet said. What do you mean slightly? Trevor asked, as he had a curious look on his face. Seconds later, Ben starts floating in the air. That's awesome. But wait a minute. If you said you were just like my dad, does that mean he's dead too? Trevor asked, as he looked at the floor of the treehouse. Herobrine placed his hand on Trevor's shoulder. Trevor, I died a few days after you were born. I was brought back to life by someone like you. Someone with a name I cannot say. I was there for your birth, Trevor. I wasn't allowed to hold you or be in the room with you. Hold on, just fixing something. I wasn't allowed to hold you or be in the room with you when you were born. Your mother was terrified of me after I died. She didn't want to believe the fact that I was alive again. She refused everything I said. I asked her to do one thing for me to tell you. Hereburn said, I told her to at least tell you my name, but it doesn't look like it happened if I'm only meeting you after 6 years. 16 years. Hereburn was dead. He was talking to Sasha, Trevor's mother, only days before giving birth to him. Why can't I stay here? Said Hereburn. Because you're not the man I loved. What are you talking about? I'm right here. I want to be here for this family. You are not my Brian. He's dead. Sasha, I am your Brian. My name was changed after I die. I can't change it back. Why? Because you're dead, or is it because you're lying to me? Hereburn had smashed his fist on the table, frustrated with Sasha. I want you to leave my house before I call the police, screamed Sasha. Hereburn looked down at the floor with an upsetting look on his face. I'll leave. Just do me one favor, and I will go and never show up again. Please tell him my name and who I am, said Hereburn. Sasha stood there and nodded. Hereburn gets up and walks towards the door and pauses at the door. Thank you for letting him know I somewhat exist, Hereburn said. He opens the door and leaves. We were all sitting on the floor eating food, and Mavis and Trevor had brought something up that had happened. Scarlet had fallen forward in a sharp pain, ripping the healing wound on her back. A glow of red and blue settled under her skin. Everyone, get back, Ben yells. Everyone gets up and stands back. Trevor holding on to Mavis as Hereburn placed his hand on Trevor's shoulder. Ben lifts Scarlet up and lays her down on the bed to view her back. Brian, grab me the med kit and the scalpel, Ben shouted. What's wrong with her? Is Scarlet okay? Mavis said in a worried voice. Hereburn quickly grabbed the med kit from the kitchen along with the scalpel, then rushed it back to Ben. Something isn't right. Whatever this glowing object is killing her. Hereburn, take them to another room till she's done, said Ben. Hereburn nods and brings Mavis and Trevor to another room. Trevor holds Mavis tight as she slightly cries in his arm. I promise she'll be okay. Just relax, says Hereburn. Mavis and Trevor start to calm down and sit on the couch inside the room. Ben takes off Scarlet's shirt, revealing the cloth wrapped soaked in blood with the sharp object trying to push itself out of her skin. Ben cuts some cloth and tries to stop the bleeding. Ben takes the scalpel and holds it near where the object is stuck. Scarlet grabs my hand and stops me. Please don't let it hurt, she asked in a painful cry. Ben looked at her and held her hand tight. Oh no, I lost her. Oh, here it is. And held her hand tight as he slowly, carefully takes the object out of her back. Ben lets go of her hand and takes the object out of her back completely. It's a shard, Hereburn says to Mavis and Trevor. Hereburn and Rake were eating organs. Rake had found. Rake, have you seen the shard anywhere? Said Hereburn. Rake goes silent and continues eating. Rake, where's my crystal shard? Hereburn said in a frustrated voice. Rake stops eating for a moment. I may have accidentally injected it in the girl, said Rake. Hereburn looks at him with an anger look on his face. Are you kidding me? That could kill her. Do you realize what you have done? Hereburn said in an enraged voice. More organs? Rake said in a nervous voice. Herobrine gets up in anger and packs up. Where are you going? Rake stuttered. I'm going to save her. I can't let my sister die because of you. Tell my parents I went out, said Herobrine as he walks off into the wood. Herobrine had the power to cause people a blur in their eyes. With his power, he was able to go anywhere he wanted without having people think he was human because of the blur. Herobrine searched and searched for Scarlet. Herobrine then made a campsite for the night. He stared at the stars and thought about Scarlet. Dear sister, why did I have to die? I wanted to be there for you as you grew up. I wanted to be there for you. Our parents made the mistake on killing me. They told me so after I found them a few years after my death. Oh, dear sister, I will find you and keep you safe once I find you, said Herobrine as he falls asleep. Herobrine had woken up the next day. His campsite was destroyed and his bag was missing. So much for packing, Herobrine said. Herobrine had gone up and continued his journey, finding his sister, Scarlet. Upon his journey, he finds an empty area looked to be a circle. His stomach has growled, and he noticed somebody walking in the treeless circle. Just one bite wouldn't hurt, right? Herobrine says to himself. Herobrine uses his power upon the girl and started to walk towards her. Herobrine started to talk to himself. One bite won't kill her. I just need to keep control, that's all. Herobrine starts to notice the cloth wrapping upon her head and shoulders as she collapsed to the ground. He scented the smell that was on Rake. It was her. It was Scarlet. Herobrine ran towards Scarlet as he stopped right in front of her. I know who you are, Herobrine said as he picked up Scarlet from the ground and gave her a tight hug. He remembered the wound and let go. I'm sorry. I'm just so happy to see you, said Herobrine. Who are you? Said Scarlet in a shocked tone of voice. My name is Herobrine. I'm your brother, said Herobrine. It was an hour after Scarlet felt the pain of the object in her back. You can come see her now, said Ben. With the blood on his hands and forehead, Mavis and Trevor rushed out of the room to see her. Scarlet, are you okay? Said Mavis. Yes, Mavis, I'm fine, said Scarlet. Mavis and Trevor give Scarlet a big hug, but not too tight to cause her pain. Hey, Ben, could I see the object that was in her back? Herobrine asked. Ben looks at Herobrine. Why? Said Ben. I know what it really is and how it got in Scarlet's back, answered Herobrine. Ben looked at Herobrine with a somewhat shocked look on his face. Scarlet, Herobrine and I are going to talk in private. We'll be right back, said Ben as he's pushing Herobrine into another room. Start talking, Ben said as he closed the door behind them. The shard was a friend of mine that had me hold on to it for him. Rake liked the look of the shard and he asked if he could hold on to it for my friend. That day I asked Rake for it back, he told me that he injected it in the girl he scratched, and that's when I left the group to look for her, Herobrine said. Ben looked at Herobrine. An unknown look was on his face. You held onto a shard and didn't decide to tell me until it became a serious problem. What kind of brother does that? Ben shouted in the room. Listen, Ben, I didn't do this to cause her danger. I did it to keep her safe, Herobrine shouted as he held the crystal shard drowned in a dark blood. My mission was to fill the blood to pay my debt. If I took the shard out of Scarlet, my shard would have drained her life. Waiting causes the shard to think her body is powerless, said Herobrine. Ben looks at Herobrine and hugs him. I'm sorry I doubted you, said Ben. I'm sorry I doubted you for caring for Scarlet, said Ben. Herobrine looked at Ben and hugged him back. Hey, can I Ben pauses as what he was going to say and looks at the direction where the door is. Ben starts to rush to the room and grabs a pistol and security gun. Herobrine, he's here, Ben said. Herobrine looks at Ben with a nervous look. Rake isn't the only one here. Here, Brian takes a block out of his pocket and turns it into a sword. Ben, hide Scarlet and her friends. Fast, yelled Herobrine. As she rushes out of the door outside the treehouse, Ben quickly takes Scarlet, Mavis, and Trevor to the secret room. Ben creates a shield around them to create a personal shield around Herobrine. Are we going to be okay, Ben? Scarlet said in a quiet voice. Ben nods and kisses her head. Don't worry, I will always keep you safe, Scarlet. Ben places his hands on Scarlet's hand and gives Trevor the gun to hold on to. Come out, you cowards! Fight me! Herobrine shouted from outside the treehouse on the ground. The song was played through the wind. Demons, demons are roaming, we are always hiding. The song continued to sound closer and closer to Herobrine. There he is, Rick says as he crawls towards Herobrine. A large group of unknown people came from the woods. Sweetie, why did you leave us? One of them had spoken. She wore a black cloak with a red choker. She also wore a black and red dress with unknown bloodstain. Her name was Balin. She was Herobrine's mom. That's none of your business, Herobrine shouted. Oh, sweetie, Rick told us who he attacked a month ago. You should be honest with your mother, said Balin. Balin used the power to control the wind and used it to push Herobrine back. Scarlet, take my phone and call Jeff. Tell him to bring everyone, Ben said quietly, as he started to feel some pain Herobrine had received. Scarlet takes Ben's phone and calls Jeff. Jeff speaking. What do you want, Ben? Jeff, we need your help. Ben told me to call you and have you bring everyone. Wait, why? The sound of a sharp object flying in the treehouse, causing everyone to scream in shock. Just hurry! Scarlet disconnects the call and hears more than thuds. Scarlet? Hello? Jeff then hangs up. Yo, Slender! Call everyone up to save Scarlet. Bring Lazari too. Jeff yelled into the other room. Okay, let me finish giving Lazari her bath, said Slender, as Lazari is already out of the bathtub ready to go. You need to respect your mother, Brian. Don't make this chat into death. A man that reveals himself from the woods had black hair and red eyes. He wore a cloak of gold and red blood. He wore clothes of royalty, vampire royalty. His name was Dennis. He was the man Herobrine needed to pay his debt to. Mother, why did you help him? Herobrine shouted towards Balin. Oh, honey, it's simple. He's our leader, said Balin. Her eyes show an orange glance. You're mind-controlling her, aren't you? Herobrine yelled in anger. Your mother simply agreed to me being her leader after you left, of course, said Dennis. Herobrine holds his sword up and starts saying words of an unknown language. His sword starts to glow a purple light. His eyes start to become brighter. You won't get away with this, Dennis. Wait till they find out, Herobrine shouted. Oh, I think I lost where I was again. Wait till they find out, Herobrine shouted. Dennis looked at Herobrine and smirks. Oh? And who's coming to... Dennis was interrupted by thousands of footsteps, running towards them. They're here! Herobrine said in a calm voice. Dennis looks at Herobrine and places his hand out, lifting thousands of sticks, pointing them at Herobrine. Yo, magic dude! Wanna fight? Shouted Jeff. Moments later, everybody started repeating what Jeff said. My ears! Cried Dennis Min. The sound of a clock silenced the echo. Herobrine looks at Dennis and laughs. Welcome to the party, Toby! announced Herobrine. Toby wore a tan-colored hoodie stained in more blood than Jeff. Toby had the type of goggles that had clocks on him. Toby's eyes were the most unique. He had clocks pupils. He also wore a black bandana. Toby smirked. You messing with Brian? Toby asked Dennis. Dennis laughed. You know we're here for the girl, Brian, said Dennis with an evil voice. You'll never reach her. Ben, protect her, shouted Herobrine. Ben, hold on to Scarlet and her friends. I'm sorry I got you two into this, cried Scarlet. Mavis places her hand on Scarlet's back. Scarlet, don't say that. We prefer to die with somebody who showed us so much more of the world. We love you, Scarlet, said Mavis. Mavis and Trevor start to have tears fall down their cheeks. Hey, at least there's a funny thing to all this, said Trevor. Scarlet and Mavis look at Trevor confused, still showing tears down the sides of their faces. All this time, my best friend was my aunt. Trevor laughed, trying to show the bright side. Mavis and Scarlet look at each other and laugh. Trevor, Mavis, and Scarlet hug each other, spending whatever time they had left together. Scarlet, your eyes, Ben said. Scarlet's eyes had changed from a beautiful brown to a golden yellow. Whoa, Scarlet said. Her wound started to heal instantly, changing her clothes to a gold fabric. Scarlet's hair had changed with streaks of gold in her hair. Ben, what's happening to me? Scarlet had shouted so loud that everyone could hear it from outside. Scarlet, you have powers, said Ben in a loud voice. Scarlet starts floating in the air as she changes. Is she changing into some creature? Trevor asked in a loud shout. It's her blood. If Herobrine and her parents had transformed and earned their powers, maybe from dying or unlocking her true power. You two unlocked her true power, shouted Ben in cheer. Scarlet had black shorts and a golden belt that held ender pearls, a golden microphone, and a small golden block in the pocket of the belt. Scarlet had also been given a cape of gold with zebra-striped pattern, a black and gold boots that went to Scarlet's knees, a black bag that held on Scarlet's back. Scarlet was placed on the ground with glow around her body. Time to save my big brother, said Scarlet. Ben nods, then looks at Trevor and Mavis. Scarlet leaves the room. Hey, Mavis, do you think Scarlet would say yes if I asked her out? Whispered Ben. Mavis, with a shocked look on her face, smiles and nods. I heard that, Ben, yelled Scarlet. Scarlet sits outside the treehouse door, grabbing her acorns. Brian, grabbing an acorn. Brian, you can't expect your friends here to save you. You know I'm stronger than them, said Dennis. Scarlet throws an acorn at Jeff. Shh, don't react, Scarlet said in Jeff's mind. Jeff looks at Scarlet and drops his jaw. Jeff, what do you look? Said Slender. As he looked upon Scarlet, soon everyone started to look at Scarlet. What? What are you all staring at? Dennis said, as he looked up at the treehouse and saw Scarlet. Why, hello there, Dennis said to Scarlet. Scarlet looked at Dennis and rolled her eyes. Scarlet then throws an acorn at Dennis. It hits Dennis in the head. You little brat! How did you manage to hit me without me seeing? Dennis said in frustration. Scarlet takes an acorn and attaches to an ender pearl and throws it at Dennis's head again. Scarlet then teleports to Dennis, kicking him in the face. Scarlet turns around and looks at Herobrine. Hey, big brother, look what I have. Scarlet says as she shows Herobrine a golden block in her pocket, turns into a golden axe. I guess I'm special, huh? Scarlet says as she floats in the air. Scarlet's body glows even more. Scarlet's axe splits into two golden axes in her hand, sparking and smoking of purple flames. Scarlet, how did this happen? Herobrine shouted in shock. Scarlet looks at Herobrine and gives him a hug. Mavis and Trevor, they unlocked my powers. Scarlet whispered in Herobrine's mind. Oh, Miss Scarlet, do you know who I am? Yelled Dennis. Scarlet stopped hugging Herobrine and turns around. Scarlet smiles at Dennis and walks towards him. Scarlet holds both of her axes and holds them together to combine them. To Dennis' surprise, her axe turns into a large golden battle. Sorry, sweetie, but I'm staying here. You can't control me, Scarlet says as she smiles. Slender comes in from behind Dennis and uses his tentacles to wrap Dennis up and lift him in the air. Don't ever hurt my big brother again, Dennis, or I will come for you, Scarlet says as she looks at Dennis right in his face, giving his mind and visions nightmares. Scarlet nods and looks at Slender, and he launches Dennis across the forest. His partners disappear, and all that's left is a woman. The woman was Balin. She was no longer in control of Dennis. Balin was staring at Scarlet while everyone left. Scarlet looked at Herobrine. Who is she? Scarlet asked. Herobrine looked at her and smiled. Scarlet, meet Balin. Balin, meet your daughter after 16 years, Herobrine said. And that is the end of chapter 2. I'm not sure if you should keep going. Let me see how long I've been talking for. Almost 40 minutes. So, that is all that I'm going to be reading this time. I will have to see you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.